What up, people? It's Cameron. I should probably say Cameron from Ozone Baby. What up, people? It's Cameron from Ozone Baby, and I am going through in this list my favorite pop albums of 2020. And don't sweat me about how this is put out in the middle of 2021. 2020 was a difficult year if you weren't aware of that, but lots of stuff that was released in 2020 was awesome. And this is actually the year where artists that didn't put out things that I enjoyed previously, there's so many artists who put out something for the first time that I was really like, wow, I need to talk about this. So, in lieu of the normal album lists that I do, Liam and I decided let's do some videos for you guys and talk about my favorite albums of 2020. Starting off with Pop at the Top, Top of the Pops. Let's pop this top and start our review of the pop albums of 2020. Number 1, we've got Deacon with Mystic Familiar. You guys know what it is. It's indie-tronica. It's pop electronics. It's got a very psychedelic bent to it. Deacon crushed it again. Next up, we have The Strokes with The New Abnormal. Now, counting out The Strokes is like the dumbest thing you can do, but I still almost did it because this was labeled as somewhat of a comeback record, and I get scared whenever I hear that, even though it's not really a comeback record for The Strokes. They've had gaps in discography before, but they were what saved pop rock in the 2000s, and they show why here again in 2020 with The New Abnormal. This is This It? With some synth pop injection to it. Phenomenal. We've got AWOLNATION with Angel Miners and the Lightning Riders. Now, AWOLNATION have undoubtedly lost a step on this record, but that's crazy because it's still really good. If you're looking for inventive, rockier pop music that is very electronic, very one-man, AWOLNATION is still going to be your best bet for a go-to. I am so sad this record didn't get a little bit more shine. This is Woody and Jeremy with Strange Satisfaction, and what a straight-up funk record, and y'all know how much I love my funk. But seriously, this is some real pop soul too. It's got Woody from Wolfpack. He's the Woody in Woody and Jeremy, and it's just like if Wolfpack was a little bit more accessible. This is the sound to top the YouTube charts. This is right there, right for the generation, very musically inclined. Plus, it has a song called Fat Boys in the Gym of Love. If that doesn't merit a listen, I don't know what I can tell you. Oh shit. Jessie Ware took a turn and rocketed through the stratosphere. This is Jessie Ware with What's Your Pleasure. All of the records on this list I really enjoy, but this is an S tier. This is one of the best pop records of the year. It's all these different dance musics rolled into one. It's got disco, house, New York Underground, boogie. Did I mention disco? It's got a shit ton of disco. This is such a body-moving record. It's impossible not to move your body to it. Go put on Ooh La La from this record right now and go get your vaccine because summer 2021 is about to be a party drug like this album is. Hats off, Jessie Ware. We've got Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper, Ninth Wonder, Kamasi Washington doing this Dinner Party EP. Now, I have no idea where to put this EP so that people don't get angry. It's got enough jazz to be a jazz EP. It's got enough rapping and loops to be in the rap section. It's got enough modern R&B to be in the pop section. But if I put it only in the jazz EPs, which I guess people would argue that it's mostly, then I feel like nobody's gonna peep this thing, and you have to go listen to it. The heavy hitters that came together to make this EP, Dinner Party, please go check it out. Future Islands, As Long As You Are, this is another Future Islands record. It's as simple as that. It's not like they're putting out anything that's bad, not even anything that's not great. It's a great record, great pop record, and just another one in their steadily growing canon. They do take a few more risks on this record though, actually. It's nothing crazy, it's nothing big, it's nothing that's really changing their sound, but they've got a few things in there that are a little bit, just a little outside what you'd normally think of when you think of Future Island. That helps really make this record 3D. Another great one from these guys. If you're a pop listener, you already know. We've got Runners Club 95 with No Sugar Added. This is the Vaporwave record of the year, and it's the Vaporwave record of the year by a mile. Now, it's of course very easy for Vaporwave to be more comedy or nostalgia or parody even than music, but when you hit it really well, like let's say like St. Pepsi's hit Vibes, it's way more than just what Vaporwave by itself can be. And if Runners Club 95 don't exactly hit that absolute height here with No Sugar Added, they come very, very close. Vaporwave record of the year by a mile. They unabashedly go forward with fun and really good musicality. I listened to this record one time while I was going to the airport in the early hours of the morning, and it hit just as hard as it did on the beach. Vaporwave record of the year, people. You gotta check it out. Mac Miller's Circles. You knew it was gonna be on here. Pop, rap, neo soul, whatever you want to call this, it's a great record. Now, I have not been a fan of anything that Mac Miller has done before this, and I'm extremely sad, as I'm sure everybody else is, that his first great record is a posthumous record. But the subject matter of this thing, along with the circumstances in which it was released, I hope that they don't overshadow how good of a record it is by itself, because it really is amazing, and I don't want it to fall prey just to the, oh, it was released after he was alive, and that's why it's good. It's not. It's good because it's a great record. Those things are just going to ensure that it is legendary for time to come. We have Haru Nemuri with Love Theism. This is another artist who surprised me. I was not a fan of anything she did previously, but she made me into a fan with this stunning mini album right here. Love Theism is noisy art rock with tons of Japanese pop and Japanese rap and tons of electronica influence on it. If you want to hear all of those things colliding, which in 2021, if you don't, you're behind the curve. You've got to check her out. This is stuff that is popping off right now, and she's one of the people who's absolutely crushing it. She showed me here with the mini album. I really think that the sprint rather than the marathon ethos does her a lot of favors here. If you're getting something this sugar high, you want it in a smaller package. She's doing some great stuff here. Consider me a fan now. Minor Science, Second Language. This is how you do an electronic pop debut record, especially coming off the back of some very well-received singles. This is lithe, it's catchy, and it is laser focused. You can listen to this record on your headphones, in your car, and of course, the dance floor. Equally well suited to all three. Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher. This is an S-tier pop record as well, and it's probably the first Gen Z singer-songwriter album that doesn't suck. In fact, it's awesome. It's melodramatic, but it's real emotion, and it has this inflated sense of self, but it's still soul-searching. She might disappear up her own ass one day. Her head will be so far up there, like many good singer-songwriters do. I mean, some of my favorites, Josh Tillman, Sufjan Stevens, yeah, they disappear up their own ass, but I bet too that she's gonna be one of those ones where that doesn't make her music bad. And it's really evident that Punisher benefits from the youthful self-obsession that she has. Bravo. Great record. Spanish Love Songs. Brave Faces, everyone. This was the first year I was privy to this band, and holy shit, who'da thunk. It is the first pop-punk record, pop-punk band in a long time that is doing something even remotely interesting. Jeff Rosenstock notwithstanding. But these guys, the lyrics are there, the performances are there, and the songs actually progress interestingly too. Catchy like you'd want a pop-punk record to be, melodramatic like you'd want a pop-punk record to be, and these guys are from LA too. Who'da thunk? Various Artists, Pacific Breeze 2 EP, Japanese City Pop, AOR, which stands for Adult Oriented Rock, and Boogie, 1983 to 1986. The title really says it all here, except for one thing. This record is funky. And this whole thing we've had throughout the 2010s of going back to 80s Japanese city pop and really kind of reviving and taking different elements of that, it's been really hit or miss, but not this thing. It is all hit. And it's 4 tracks, 16 minutes. It is tight, lovely, lovely compilation. If you haven't heard any Japanese city pop and you're wondering where all those influences have been bubbling up in music that you've been listening to, check this out. Phenomenal place to start. Frances Quinlan with Likewise. Now, Frances Quinlan, she is the singer and songwriter of Hop Along, but on this, her solo record, her solo debut, she tones down the noisiness of Hop Along and gives you this really intimately experimental indie pop, folk, rock, singer-songwriter record with just enough danciness on the singles. It's very Frances Quinlan, and it's very good. Huey Lewis in the News, Weather. Now, like I said earlier, the comeback record is always a tenuous proposition at best. It's good like 3% of the time. But then again, I guess Huey Lewis is functionally immortal, and this record kicks ass. It's a ton of fun. So this is a summer record. Check it out for summer 2021. My Morning Jacket with The Waterfall Part 2. The first one was released in 2015, and this one is actually kind of better in a lot of respects, which you wouldn't think. You would think it was maybe some cutting room floor stuff. It's not, and especially 5 years later, really stands up, and like I said, I think it's better. Whether you're calling it psychedelic pop, indie rock, any different flavor of that kind of sound, this is what 20-somethings who wore American Apparel before the pandy love. So if that's you, check it out. Cakes to Killa and Proper Villains Muvaland. Damn, Cakes finally did it. Has released some really good singles, features, and stuff like that. But now this tight little EP, amazing. The best thing that they've ever released by a mile. So, Cakes to Killa, Proper Villains, Muvaland. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like the movie The Birdcage. Go watch that movie. It's got Robin Williams, Hank Azaria, Gene Hackman, Nathan Lane. It's amazing. And this record sounds like it. I want to be in a Miami club the whole time this thing is on. This is hip hop. This is one of the best hip house records I've heard in a long time. Forget Gold Link, Cakes to Killa forever. We've got Roux with Supervision. This is her third album, and it is actually her worst, but let me tell you why that's okay. Because her first album, groundbreaking electropop dancey record, amazing. Her second record, this 80s Miami danceable disco-y kind of, but more clubby sound, right at the top of when that trend started. Of course, I know everybody and their mom is doing 80s throwback stuff now. Blinding Lights kicks ass. Miley Cyrus's stuff, not so much. But we're talking about Roux, and she really brings that disco-iness that's been very popular into this new record, but it's not as groundbreaking as what we usually expect from her. Thankfully, though, she's a good enough songwriter and singer that this is still a fantastic record if that's the sound that you're into. The Mavericks with En Espanol. It's exactly as advertised. The Mavericks do all these different genres of Spanish language music, and they absolutely kick ass at every single one of them. I implore you, please, even if, and especially especially if you don't speak a second language or multiple languages, please check out this record. You don't need to speak Spanish to enjoy it. It has some of the most beautiful vocals ever laid to tape, but what would you expect from a Mavericks record? Best vocals in the game? You got them. It's beautiful. Okay, this is an S tier. This is a band called Ozone Baby, and the record's called Oh My God. The best record of the year, in my opinion. This kicks ass. If you like rock, funk, pop, even stoner metal, you can find it on this thing, and it is fun as hell. Pop music has never sounded more vital. Best record of the year. We have talked about how 2020 was the year of surprises in so many different ways, and not least of which with artists who had put out things that I didn't care about, or some that I didn't even care for, are now releasing some great things in 2020, and nowhere is that more apparent than Charli XCX with How I'm Feeling Now. It took quarantine for Charli to make a great record, but this is a really good pop record. Now, this is markedly more minimal than her more pop label stuff, of course, but it's way better. This record, you can tell, was made by a person and not a boardroom. It's art, not a product. This is easily her most personal and by far best record, yet Charli XCX did it. This is the other best record of the year. This is Ozone Baby with Burnt Bodies. Other best record of the year. I know I said that earlier, but this one, if not number one, it's number two. We've got rock, pop, funk, acoustic jams, whatever you want on this little thing here. Kind of a departure for the boys, if I'm reading the rest of their back catalog correctly. But you know what? They show here that they're masters of all genres and all emotions. So much fun. Pop music has never sounded more vital. Pelgag with Notre Dame des Sept Douleurs. I'm sure I said perfectly. So I'm not very well versed in French Canadian art pop, but if it's all this good, I have to check out way more of it. I guess you could kind of call this a singer-songwriter record too, but all I know is it's some unbelievably well orchestrated art pop, and it sounds great. Check it out. Laura Marling with Songs for Our Daughter. Yet another artist whose previous output I didn't really like, except for Lump. That record was dope. But her core catalog never really spoke to me. I didn't dislike it, but just never really that interesting. This record just goes and makes one of the best singer-songwriter records of recent memory. Phenomenal. Great job, Laura Marling. If you like singer-songwriter folk pop music, check this out. Can't do wrong. Last but not least, keep in mind, these are not really in any order here. It's 100 Gecs with 1000 Gecs in the Tree of Clues. What can you say about 100 Gecs that has not already been said? This is just a recommendation. 100 Gecs with 1000 Gecs and the Tree of Clues. What can I say about this group that has not already been said? It's super odd that this is kind of a remix album of the first 100 Gecs project, 1000 Gecs, because what passes for a remix album nowadays is truly nothing. Like, they're not really even remixing anything at all. Maybe tacking on a verse somewhere from some guest who heard the song and then recorded it 2 years later. But this is technically a remix record, and it's not that. They literally get into the studio and they're rewriting and re-recording songs that showed up on their previous hyperpop masterpiece, and now they're doing it with all of these people who they want to come and work with that now they have the clout to. They've got on here Charli XCX, Rico Nasty, Injury Reserve, Fall Out Boy, and it really shows what a remix can be. You've got the bones from your previous record, and now we're just going and making a completely new record out of those songs. Props to 100 Gecs. I can never wait for what they're going to come out with next. Thank you so much. Those were my favorite pop records of the year. Once again, Liam and I thought this would just be a fun idea to do instead of me posting a 5-page notes app thing on Facebook and nobody seeing it. Why don't I put it out on YouTube and say, hey, these records in 2020 were the best of this genre, I guess. So go check them out, and that's what I'd love for you guys to do. Comment below on which ones you like, on which ones you heard, which ones you haven't heard. Really love talking about music, if you can't tell. So it means a lot that you watch this, and it means a lot to me if you go check out these amazing pop masterpiece records. Stay tuned for some more lists coming in different genres. Thank you.